fans, it's Saturday. It's the Tillamook County Fair, and you know what that means. It's World Championship Peg and Ford racing time here in Tillamook. For the 92nd time today, they're going to crown a world champion on the track down below us as we sit in the crow's nest at the Tillamook County Fair. As the first 2 days of racing have been tight, and we expect today to be just as tight. The first 2 heat races, and then the third race of the day will be the World Championship Pig and Ford races. In the first day, Ben Salo and Marty Walker earned their way into the championship races. And yesterday, Chris Hurleman and Bobby Wasmer, the 2 winners of their heat races. So those 4 drivers have already qualified for the championship race. All 4 of them would love to have one of them repeat so that there aren't 6 drivers and 6 cars in the championship race, because it gets pretty tight on this track, and they'll be the first to tell you about that. We've got some new drivers today. That should be interesting as they get ready to come up for their first race. On the inside, the pole position in number 1 spot will be car number 16. It'll be Chad Wilson. Chad Wilson finished 4th, 3rd, and 4th in the races last year, and he's fairly new to racing. He gets a great draw today on that inside position in the TLC Federal Credit Union car. Jake Martin is going to be right next to him in slot number 2. Jake Martin in car number 17, the KTIL car. In the 3rd spot, it's going to be Nick Hurleman. As Nick Hurleman, they just did a really nice tribute to his grandpa, Bob Hurleman, who bought car number 18 years ago and then passed down to Perry, Nick's dad. Perry drove it around after a short tribute, and Perry now hands the reins over to Nick, who's been driving for several years now, that car number 18. In the 4th spot, it'll be the first day winner, Ben Salo. Ben Salo, one of the 2 favorites for the championship today. He's won 1 heat, first one, the second one yesterday. He finished 2nd on. And so he's looking to do the same thing he did last year, and that's pick up 2 heat races and then move into the championship race. Last year he lost to Marty Walker by 1 second in the closest championship race we've had in many years, as Ben Salo will be in spot number 4. He ran in 3 minutes and 15 seconds for the win on the first day. And then on the outside, it'll be Chris Hurleman. Chris won yesterday in the first race. He ran in 3 minutes and 16 seconds. And so Chris Hurleman in car number 12 finished 4th last year in the championship race. That's the SC Paving car number 12. They're going to try to move people back from the fence. It's an absolutely massive crowd. I mean, they're 6, 7, 8 deep along the fence the entire straight stretch, and we're ready for the first race. They've checked all the cranks, and there's the gun. First one of the box is going to be Ben Salo. Ben's got a long run. The car to the 4th spot hits the crank, and he's going to leave in first place. Right behind him is going to be Jake Martin. Jake, good exchange that time, and he'll be right on the tail of Ben Salo. Jake's going to move to the outside. Chris Hurleman's going to be in 3rd. Chad Wilson in 4th. And Nick Hurleman in 5th. Around they go, and Jim Martin passes Salo on the back stretch. Jake Martin, I said Jim, that'd be his dad. Jake Martin passes Ben Salo on the back straight stretch. That's a surprise because Salo's car's been running so well lately. Jake now leads by about 4 car lengths, about the same distance back to Nick Hurleman, or excuse me, Rick Hurleman's car, as Chris in 3rd place right now. Our first exchange is going to be big. Jake Martin in car number 17 with the lead. Right behind him is going to be Ben Salo. In and out they go quickly. They both hit the crank at the same time. Ben Salo, I think, is going to pass him. No, they're side by side again. Salo on the outside, Jake Martin on the inside. Chris Hurleman will leave in 3rd. Chad Wilson misses the crank, doesn't get it started, has to flip the switch. Forgot that part. He'll leave in fifth as Nick will pass him in the pit. On the back stretch they go, halfway through this race. A lap and a half into it, a lap and a half left. Jake Martin, 2 car lengths ahead of Ben Salo. Ben right on his tail. They'll go into the final turn of this second lap. About 100 yards behind now is Chris Hurleman. Ben Salo would love to win this one and keep one more car out of that championship race, but something's got to happen here. It's Jake Martin running well in car number 17. He looks over his right shoulder. Ben going to slide up. They're going to stop almost at the same time. Salo in and out of box 4. Jake Martin in and out of box 2. Jake, good exchange, and Salo has a hard time getting his car started, and he's going to leave with about a 50-yard deficit. In and out goes Chris Hurleman. Chris Hurleman will leave in third. Jake Martin has run an excellent race here today in the first heat as he left in second place from the initial exchange as one pig almost jumped out of the box, hanging on. They bump him back in. Jake Martin looking for a championship or a win and a berth into the championship race, and he's got things well in hand right now. Jake Martin's going to be the 5th car to qualify in car number 17. Nice run by Jake as he slides in next to the box. Ben Salo right behind him, but Jake Martin sets his pig in the box in 3 minutes and 13 seconds, and Jake Martin beats Ben Salo, and that, I believe, is a surprise that Salo's going to finish second in this race. Chris Hurleman will finish third. All 3 of those cars will be in the championship race, the third race of the day. In fourth, it's going to be Nick Hurleman and Chad Wilson after having trouble getting his car started. After that first exchange, will end up in 5th spot. And so a very, very good first heat as Jake Martin moves his car back to the infield, and Jake Martin, you can write his name down as one of the now 5 cars that will be in the championship race. And we have one more race to go and some good possibilities there as Ricky Burton is going to run in car number 14, and he drew the pole position. Ricky Burton's car, Damon Wayhanger, they share that car, is sponsored by Shelley's Diner. Ricky has not run this year. He has run in the past, so he's anxious to run that car number 14 that's all dressed up and shiny bright. As another newcomer in the race, I see Bobby Wasmer is not running, and his son, Mackenzie, is going to run today. So we've got a real interesting mix here of young and experienced. As first position again, Ricky Burton. In the second spot is going to be Drew Prince. Drew Prince is going to drive car number 15. He was in the championship race, actually won on Saturday this very race a year ago. Finished third in the championship race. Yesterday had trouble with his car running. It died on him, and he couldn't get it going. That's Tillamook Motors car sponsor this year. In the third spot is going to be John Hartel. John ran really well yesterday, finished second to his brother-in-law, Bobby Wasmer, as John Hartel in car number 10. That's a Pepsi car number 10. John hasn't earned his way into the championship race for several years and would love to make it the 6th car. In the 4th spot is going to be Dylan Walker, the son of Marty Walker, who's the defending world champion. In fact, when you look at Marty, he has dominated. In the last 13 years, he's only lost 4 times, 3 of those to Ben Salo and once to Bobby Wasmer. The rest of them he has won, as he has been dominant, but Marty Walker's not driving it today. His 16-year-old son, Dylan Walker, is going to drive. He'll be in the 4th spot, and then clear on the outside, Bobby Wasmer's son, Mackenzie, is going to be driving and he's really excited about that as well. That'll be his first opportunity to drive, so this will be a really interesting race. Now, the car qualifies for the championship, so cars 13 and 19, Walker and Wasmer, have already qualified. But their dads are over there as excited as could be, and in fact, between this heat race and the championship race, I talked to Marty Walker, actually interviewed him, and we have a tape of that, and I'll play while they're doing some of the closing ceremony stuff. And he talks about his son Dylan racing and that exchange, the difference that's coming. And so Dylan Walker and Mackenzie Wasmer, two runners or two drivers for the very first time out there. Dylan ran yesterday in his first official race. And it is, as they say down there on the track, the next generation of racers are here in this race, which is really good to see. So Ricky Burton on the inside position, and they'll get ready. As the starter comes across, and everybody's excited and ready to go. Starter gun's out, and it's off. First one's going to be Prince. Drew Prince, first one to the box, but first one to the car is going to be John Hartel. Has trouble getting his crank. First one to leave, though, is going to be John Hartel, and right outside of him is going to be Dylan Walker. Dylan in second. In third, Drew Prince. Ricky Burton with a good start. In fourth, in car number 14, and Mackenzie Wasmer will leave in fifth. John Hartel with the lead. Dylan Walker right behind him. Drew Prince right behind him. Drew Prince going to try to move to the outside. It's 1, 2, 3 in a row, and now they're side by side. Dylan Walker on the inside, Drew Prince on the outside. Drew Prince is going to move into second spot as Johnny Hartel holds him off, but Drew a little bit high in that corner. Finds some soft stuff, going to drop back now into third place. Dylan did a nice job closing the gap there, and it's going to be tight at the box on the first exchange. John Hartel coming in. Right behind him is going to be Dylan Walker, caged in a little bit. Drew Prince in car 15, closing them off on the outside. Johnny Hartel goes in. A pig jumps out of box 2 into box 3. Drew Prince grabs his own pig back as John Hartel will leave in first. Dylan Walker will be in second. Drew Prince will be in third. As Ricky Burton's going to stop long enough to clean his pig off, and off he will go so they don't get that brand new pretty car all dirty. And in fourth, Mackenzie Wasmer will leave as Ricky Burton will leave in fifth. And he tells his pig to be quiet. Good run coming out of the second corner of the second lap. It's still Johnny Hartel with the lead over Dylan Walker, running really good in car number 13. First time he's been in the hunt ever as a first-time driver. John Hartel, car number 10. Dylan Walker, car number 13. John Hartel's car spewing some steam. Hartel, boy, he's got a big pig this time. Missed a crank once, twice. Finally gets it turned over this time, and he'll lead in first place. Dylan Walker gets his started, and off he'll go. In second, and in third, Drew Prince. And they have one lap to go. Mackenzie Wasmer comes in. He's settled his pig. Everybody cheering for Mackenzie. In and out of box number 5 he goes. Oh, he's got a good-sized pig there. I think these grew overnight. And Ricky Burton will come in with car number 14. He's just going to go on by. As Mackenzie gets his pig and off he goes. We've got a race in John Hartel about 20 yards ahead now of Dylan Walker. John Hartel, if he can slow it down and get his pig in the box, he's going to win himself a trip to the championship race. He stops, puts it in, and John Hartel, who ran really well yesterday, ran well again today and picked up the victory. Also running really well was Dylan Walker. Dylan Walker will finish second. 3:19 is the winning time for John Hartel. Within 5 seconds of the fastest time yet this year. Everybody's been between 3:14 and 3:19 for the wins. And so John Hartel with the victory. And we have what most of these drivers do not want, and that is 6 drivers, 6 cars in the championship race. It gets pretty darn tight as Mackenzie Wasmer, love to see that, drops his pig in the box. He will finish in 4th. And Ricky Burt, always a great sport, will finish in that 5th spot as he will walk his pig over and put it in the box. And the heat racing for the year is now over. So let's look at our drivers for the championship race. It's John Hartel, the final qualifier. And it's been a while. Let me go back and look at my numbers. 2012, so it's been 4 years ago since there's been 6 drivers in the race, and it's only happened twice since 2004. And so not often that you get 6 drivers into a race, the championship race, 6 different guys winning. When you look back at these cars and the history, it's pretty amazing how dominant some have been. As I look at the championships by cars, and that goes all the way back 50 years or so. Championship by cars, car number 13, that's Marty Walker's car, has won 20 championships, and he's got, I think, 12 himself. In second is car number 16, and that did not qualify in this case. Car number 16, driven by Chad Wilson now, but Hurlemans ran that for years and years and years, and that has 11 championships. Car number 10, the car that just qualified, John Hartel, has won 10 championships. Ken Wasmer, many of those championships there. That would be John Hartel's father-in-law. Also, with 8 championships, car number 20, that's Salo, Ben Salo, has won, I believe, 4 of those himself, 3 of those himself. But car number 19, that's Bobby Wasmer's car. It's won 6 championships. And finally, Chris Hurleman's car number 12 has won 5 championships. And so those are the 6 cars that have won championships. The cars that have not won championships, car number 14, that's Damon Wayhager today. Ricky Burt drove that. Also car number 15, Drew Prince, who won a race last year, earned his way to the championship race, but did not win it there. He finished 3rd. Also car number 17, Jake Martin, who's earned his way into the championship race just today. That car has never won a world championship. And car number 18, Nick Hurleman's car, has never won a championship either. And so when you look at the cars out there, there's a few that seem to run a little bit faster, but most of them have had chances, and today it will be 6 different ones that have a chance at the championship as well, as they readdress and resort pigs so that they kind of even things out a little bit down there. They do have 6 boxes. They only use 5 of them in every race, except in this championship race if 6 people qualify. We told you that Marty Walker has been the one who has dominated. He's won 9 out of the last 13 championship races. The other 4, 3 by Ben Salo and 1 by Bobby Wasmer, both are in this championship race as well. Chris Hurleman has shown himself to be somebody who could win as well. John Hartel also in that last win, and Jake Martin ran extremely well today, and so we'll see. Down on the track, they're doing closing ceremonies. They have the fair board out there, a couple, actually all 3 county commissioners, and Betsy Johnson as well, and so it's really good to see all of them. We can't pick up most of what's going on down there, but what we will do is I had an opportunity to grab Marty Walker before today's race out on the infield. And I said, "Hey, Marty, could you just step over and talk to me for a couple minutes and talk to me on tape, and then we'll play that between the second heat race and the championship race." And so let's see what Marty had to say. So, Marty, you're coming into big race Saturday. How's it for the first time not running 3 days in a row? Letting Dylan run, that's got to be a little bit different. You won the first race, and now you'll race in the championship race. Any nerves there?
No. It's kind of weird not racing every day, but I'm ready to retire, I think, finally.
So you've been waiting for Dylan to come up for quite a while. What's that like, finally getting there and getting to see him run out there today?
Nice. A relief.
So if you had a choice today, win a championship or have Dylan win a heat?
Probably Dylan wins.
So as you look back in your racing career here, have there been any that were more special? You've won, 12, 13 world championships. Were there any that were more special than others?
The first one's probably the most special.
And they're calling you off, trying to get something to go here. So how's the track running out there?
Really fast. It's hard. Good track this year.
So how important is it? You have 4 people who qualified for the championship race. How important is it to have one of those 4 win again today? 6 cars on the track's kind of tight, isn't it?
Yeah, 6 is too much. It's too crowded.
And so do you any extra emphasis today on trying to get one of those guys to win, or there's also some good young drivers out here as well?
Yeah, no. Finn will probably win his heat more than likely, and I told Dylan to try if he can.
Yeah. So what makes Finn so good? He's quick to the box.
Fast. Very fast on his feet.
So is it, how much of it's a car, how much of it's getting to the box, getting to your car, and getting the start?
It's mostly the feet, the speed of him, his youth.
So how have you kept this up for this long?
Luck of the draw.
You know, as you look back at it, did you have any idea that when you started you'd be this good at it?
No, not at all.
How much fun's it been?
A lot of fun.
So you look forward to it every year?
Yep, every year.
And you expect to keep racing now for a while, or turn the whole thing over sometime?
Probably 2 more years. I'll turn it over to Dylan.
He seems like he's having fun as well. Learning curve, isn't there?
Yeah, big learning curve. He's learning.
What is the learning curve?
No mistakes. Take your time.
And where are most of the mistakes made?
Cranking.
Okay. And how about handling the pigs?
Handling the pigs, very weird for people.
Yeah. Driving-wise, is that the part that comes easier?
Yeah, the driving's pretty easy.
Okay. Yep. Well, Marty, we wish you the best of luck today. It'll be a lot of fun, and be a lot of fun watching the boy grow up, too.
Thanks, Randy.
And again, we'd like to thank Marty Walker for taking the time to talk to us before today's race as they all collect out in the infield. You know, it's very interesting. It's quite a family affair out there, as many of these families have raced for years and years and years. Many of these guys have grown up racing. If you look at Marty Walker, for example, his dad, Dean Walker, drove car number 13 to its first championship in 1964. And in that string, no, I take that back. In 1959, Dean Walker won the first championship. As the year before I was born, so it was a long time ago. And he won 8 out of 10, so he went on quite a string there in car number 13, dominated. Before that, it was Jack Babbitt, car number 10, who was dominant. And then Don Salo, of course, a good racer until George Hurleman just took things over. He won 7 championships in a row back in the 70s, 1971 to 76. And then after that, Rick Hurleman turned around. So car 16 actually won 8 championships in a row because George turned it over to his son Rick. And Rick was an exceptional athlete, real strong left-hander. And a left-hander doesn't hurt you at all in this because as you run from the far side of the track to your car, to have your left hand there to crank is beneficial because then you don't have to switch the pig back and forth. When you're driving, the pig is sitting right next to your hip on the right side, so you obviously are holding it with the right hand. And so if you are left-handed, you can hold the pig with the right hand, you can crank with the left hand, drive with the left hand, and you don't ever have to exchange or switch the pig from one hand to the other. And so the big left-hander, Rick Hurleman, won that championship and then won many more, including a run back in the 1988 to 1990 where he won 3 in a row, and then won again clear as late as 1997. And so you look at those, what we call dynasties, and we're in the middle of one with Marty Walker, maybe towards the end of one. As Marty says, he'll run for a couple more years, and now Dylan, his son, is able to run as well and ran very well in that last race. And so Marty Walker has been really the premier racer as of late. But I would say that Ben Salo, every bit as good right now, quicker to the box and quick around his car. Marty's got this sense of smoothness to him. Never seems to be in a hurry and never makes a mistake. And I knock on wood, as in never, because anybody can make a mistake. Today, though, we'll have 6 cars in the championship race, and that's going to make things a little bit tight. They're going to have to run the cars fairly close together from the box. And what you have to remember is you can't put them wheel to wheel because you have to crank the car and then get between the cars in order to get in. And all these are open-wheeled cars, and so what you can't do is you can't have it so close that you have somebody trying to get to their car and have a car run over them. I know Clint Hurleman down there at car number 16 broke his leg one year in an exchange that was pretty ugly. And in fact, they're always worried about the safety of the pigs. The reality is that there have been a lot more drivers hurt running these races than there have been pigs hurt. But today, with 6 drivers in the championship race across the track, it will be tight racing, and you would expect they're all going flat out, and it matters to them. There's, I think, 4 trophies over there, and so it matters as to what place you get, because this is what you've been fighting for all week. So the ceremonies are all taking place down there. It's kind of like the Olympics in that it only happens once in a while. In this case, once a year. It's not like you have a whole circuit that you're out there driving and, I won 3 races, but I didn't win at Tillamook. In this case, it is the time that you race. They get the cars out a couple other times a year to show off in parades. And other than that, used to drive an exhibition at St. Paul Rodeo, but it was all done inside the rodeo arena, which is not quite the same as this horse racing track. And so now you have the championship race. You have six drivers, 6 cars, and they have drawn for position over there. I see Marty Walker coming over to look in the box, and he looked in box numbers 2 and 3, so he must have drawn one of those second or third spots. Tell you what, if you draw number 6, you have a long, long ways to run through a lot of traffic to get to your car, to get it started, to try to get out and get in front. And I would say about 70% of the time, whoever leaves first from the pits the first time ends up winning this race. And so that becomes hugely important in where you draw and how quick you are to the pins and then back to your car. And so the drivers look like this. John Hartel in car number 10, Chris Hurleman in car number 12, Bobby Wasmer, car number 19. They're coming out now, and that may be the order in which they've drawn. I'm not sure. Car number 17 will be Jake Martin. He's coming out. And then it'll be Ben Salo. and they're going to take one lap to get things warmed up. And the last one that hasn't come out, he's still standing on the infield, is Marty Walker. And Marty Walker apparently does not want to take a practice lap. As I'm a little surprised John Martell is, because his car was spewing a whole bunch of steam and water when he got through lap number 2 last time. And so we are getting close to racing time as the World Championship awaits somebody, one of these drivers, as they come out. And Marty checking out his car over on the infield. Still has not left. Now he'll try to crank it and get it started. As he has to wait, turn it over, having trouble actually getting it started out there. Now he's got it going. In the first spot, it's going to be Chris Hurleman. He'll be drawing number 1. In the second spot, I believe it's going to be Marty Walker. And it looks like John Hartel is going to draw the third spot. Good draw for him after winning that last race. Ben Salo is going to draw number 4. Bobby Wasmer is going to be in the 5th spot. Jake Martin, tough draw for him. He had the joy of winning the last race, but if he can win this thing with the guys on the inside of him from the 6th spot, that'd be pretty darn amazing. As they are getting lined up, as Marty Walker in the 2nd spot. Marty won in 2015, and then Ben Salo won it in 14. Marty had won the 4 before that, so Marty's won 5 out of the last 6. Ben Salo in the 4th spot, though. John Hartel sandwiched right between them. There is some speed as they're getting ready. And Chris Hurleman on the inside has big redneck painted across the back of his seat. That's fitting for this race as the Tillamook County Fair World Championship taken forward in front of a massive crowd. Biggest crowd you'll get around here. You couldn't fit a whole lot more in. All the infield seats are full around the rodeo arena. They're stacked down the entire fence line, and the grandstands are full. The final preparations have been made. As Jake Martin goes out, he'll touch things one more time. Ben Salo's going to roll his car forward about 6 inches. His dad gives him a hug out there. Everybody wants to be safe. As Chris Hurleman gets his all set. Marty Walker comes to the near side. He's the old man in this group easily. Oh, Bobby Wasmer getting close. Chris Hurleman goes back and checks. 6 cars wide for the World Championship. Starter pistols out of the pocket. Walking across in front. He'll turn around and look at everybody, and there they go. First one, Jake Martin and Ben Salo. Ben Salo picks his pig up, and off he goes. First one to his car, Marty Walker, and Ben Salo, and Chris Hurleman. 3 side by side they go. Marty Walker is going to take the early lead, I believe, on the outside. Chris Hurleman, Marty, Chris on the inside. Marty Walker's going to take the lead. Finally, halfway out of the first turn, Ben Salo is going to go on the outside. Chris Hurleman on the inside, Ben on the outside. In 4th is going to be John Hartel and Jake Martin. Just on the outside of him is going to move into 4th now, past John Hartel. The outside of the track on the back straight stretch is fast, but once you hit the corner, it slows you down. John Hartel back into 4th position as Jake's high in the soft step. Marty Walker with the lead. He's only run 1 race this year, and he won it. He'll come in to stop, and Ben Salo is going to be right on his heels on the outside. Marty Walker in and out of box number 2. almost got hit. Ben Salo, trouble getting his pig out. There's big congestion in there. In and out they go. Marty Walker, Ben Salo gets it going. Chris Hurleman can't get his crank turned. Jake Martin comes out, and Chris Hurleman finally gets his car started, and the brother-in-laws are side by side, wheel to wheel, Bobby Wasmer and John Hartel. But Marty Walker has taken about a 100-yard lead, hanging onto his pig, trying to get it arranged on the far side, trying to win another world championship. As Ben Salo trying to chase him down. In third now, it's Bobby Wasmer, the KG veteran, halfway through the race, moving up. In fourth, John Hartel. In fifth, Jake Martin. Back now is Chris Hurleman. Couldn't get his car started. Cost him a huge amount. Marty Walker coming in. He'll stop. Exchange in box number 2. He's got to hit his crank like he always does, and he does again. In and out of car number 13 as Marty Walker says, wow, I don't know how that happened. And Ben Salo leads right behind him. In third, Jake Martin. Nice exchange. Bobby, his car died that time. John Hartel tried to get through. He's blocked in. He can't get out. And John just had to sit there and wait as Chris Hurleman had him blocked in. And so John will leave in fourth position. Bobby in third. Make that fifth, sorry. As we look around. And Marty Walker looking to go again. I believe this will be his 13th World Championship. Marty Walker about 50 yards. Make that 40 yards in front of Ben Salo. World champion. Number 13 to match the number on his car. Locks it down in number 2 and picks up the win in 3 minutes and 13 seconds. And Ben Salo will finish second. 3 minutes and 13 seconds. In third, it'll be Jake Martin. Boy, he ran well today. In fourth, it's going to be Bobby Wasmer. Good year of racing for Bobby as well. In fifth spot, it'll be John Hartel, who's happy to be back in the championship mix. And he was right in it for a while, but ends up finishing in fifth. And Marty Walker has again won the World Championship. Marty Walker, when we look back, won his first championship. Get my paper out here correctly. Marty Walker won his first championship in 1996. That was 20 years ago. And now he has 13 of them. Marty Walker with the win, Ben Salo in second. And in third place, Jake Martin. Those would be the three getting trophies. And another great year, and that was a tight race there, especially when they left, as the three side-by-side, Chris Hurleman, Marty Walker, and Ben Salo, were all together, and Marty Walker came out of that fray with the lead, and he just extended it. And so the first race of the year on the first day and the last race of the year, those are the two that Marty ran, and those are the ones that he won, and really the biggest, this one, being the only one that matters. So Marty Walker, world champion again for another year. Another great day at the Tillamook County Fair. They still have Demolition Derby coming to this area tonight, and people, they're not going to move a whole lot. They'll wait till this arena is set. The Demolition Derby is going to get teed up, and they got a whole bunch of cars waiting to smash each other over there. But they're handing out trophies right now. And Ben Salo, his second place finish. He's never satisfied without first, which he's done a few times already. But the world champion, Marty Walker, being crowned down there now as well. So, from the Tillamook County Fair, taking forward World Championships, this has been Randy Schild reporting for KTIL Sports.